Hey guys, what we're going to be doing today is making shortbread cookies. These are similar to the sandy cookies that you get that are at the store with the pecans in it. We're making them without pecans though, okay? So let's go ahead and get started with recipe A, okay? So I have the oven preheated to 350. I have my baking sheets here prepared with parchment paper on top. Make sure it's parchment paper and not wax paper. Those are two totally different things. So in a small bowl, we are going to put our dry ingredients. So flour, cornstarch, baking powder, and salt. So the amount of flour we're going to need is 1 cup, and I'm going to use the half cup measuring cup twice. Now the baking powder, remember it's baking powder and not baking soda, and that's a half teaspoon. One-eighth of salt, 1/8 teaspoon of salt. If you don't have a 1/8 teaspoon, because they're not that common, you would do 1/4 of a teaspoon, but like half of that. So you're gonna have to eyeball it a little bit to make sure. And then we're gonna need 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. It's in a container that's similar to the baking powder container. They do have larger ones that are plastic containers. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and whisk these dry ingredients together just until it's well combined. Okay. And then let's go ahead and set this aside for now. And now we are going to cream together the butter, the sugar, and the vanilla. So you need a stick of unsalted butter. Make sure it does say unsalted, because if you use salted, the cookies actually do taste really salty. That's happened before with students that have gotten the wrong butter. So what I went ahead and did was put both sticks of butter in the microwave for about 30 seconds to get it to room temperature in a faster way. Or if you want to take it out beforehand, you can do that also. And now we need a 1/4 cup of sugar and a teaspoon of vanilla. You are going to need a hand mixer for this recipe. Remember, vanilla pours out really quickly, so pour cautiously. And we're going to cream it together with this hand mixer. If your butter's not softened, it won't cream very well. It actually won't really cream at all. So what it should look like is it should be pretty fluffy. Go ahead and put the egg yolk. Okay, so the trick to doing the egg yolk is have a bowl set aside so you don't have to waste the egg white. And what you're going to do is when you crack it, you're going to put the yolk on one side of the shell, and then you're going to move it back to the other side until all the egg white comes off of it. Okay. It does get a little messy. Okay. So I'm going to try to get it off with my hands because there's a lot of protein in the egg white, so it sticks together to the yolk pretty well. Okay. We don't want the egg white for this recipe, so that's why we're trying to get it all off as much as possible. It does not want to get away from the yolk. There we go. Okay, so this is going to go into the recipe, and we're going to go ahead and turn our hand mixer back on. So I usually will save this egg white in a little container so you can have it for breakfast in the morning, or if you're making cookies in the morning, then you can do it then. Or you can always find recipes online that need just egg white. Okay, so now that that's incorporated together, we are going to add all the dry ingredients into the large bowl. And since flour is being added to it, we are going to be stirring or mixing slow. So keep it on level 1. It's going to look a little bit like, kind of like wet sand. It's not going to be super liquidy because we don't have a lot of liquid in this recipe. What I do is I try to get as much powder to get mixed in with the wet ingredients, and then I will make it into a cookie shape. Alexa, stop timer. Sorry guys, I use my Alexa a lot for timing. It comes in handy. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and move this aside, and I will get one of the baking sheets. And if you can see here, it looks like wet sand. Okay, so it's very, very crumbly. So I'm going to get a little bit, form it into a ball, and flatten it a little bit, and it'll be like a cookie. Okay, I'll show you what it looks like in a second once I get more of them done. The warmth of your hand is what's going to really get it to stick together. With these, they really don't rise or spread out when it's in the oven, so you can put them fairly close to each other and not have to worry about it like getting too close to the next cookie. Okay. If you want to, if you have pecans laying around at home, you can try adding pecans to it. You just need to make sure that they are chopped up into small little pieces, because you don't want pecan halves, because that's going to be way too big for these cookies. Okay. All the cookies should be able to fit on one baking sheet. Remember, try to make them all almost the same size, because if one is too big, it's going to take too long to cook and it's going to be raw. And if you make it too small, it's going to burn. So try to make them as equal as possible. I'm just going to go ahead and do it on 2 baking sheets. one more cookie left. Get some of this. Alexa, stop timer. Okay. So I had the cornbread baking, so I'll go ahead and take that out. And then I could put my...
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Okay, so this made 16 shortbread cookies for recipe A, and in a little bit we'll be doing recipe B. Okay, thanks guys. I'll show you in a bit.